Okay, this should be very short. Uh, a lot of times, I've heard pre-tribulationists they will say the tribulation, the day of the Lord is a tribulation, flat out lie. And this is really short, but it doesn't have to be long because it's just very simple. The tribulation is not the day of the Lord. And in Joel, it says, the sun shall be turned into darkness, the moon into blood, before that great and terrible day of the Lord come. So when is the sun going to be turned to darkness and the moon blood? It's before the terrible day of the Lord, right? So before the day of the Lord. Matthew 24:29, it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars from heaven shall fall, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So we know that the sun and the moon and the stars and all that is before the day of the Lord. And we know from Matthew 24 that those things happen after the tribulation. So the tribulation is not the day of the Lord. Mark 13:24, but it says, in those days after the tribulation shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, stars of heaven shall fall, powers of heaven shall be shaken. Another one, Acts 2:20, the sun, this is now Acts, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon blood before the great notable day of the Lord come. So now remember, we have the tribulation. After the tribulation, we have the sun and the moon and the stars event, and then we have the day of the Lord. So is the tribulation the day of the Lord? No. What happens before the day of the Lord? Sun, moon, stars events. What happens before that? Tribulation. I got something for you. 1 Thessalonians 5:2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord still comes as a thief in the night. 2 Peter 3:10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. They're all talking the same event. That's another thing. People say, well, the day of Christ and the day of the Lord are different. No, they're not. Revelation 3:3, behold, I come as a thief. Thou shalt, if thou don't watch, he'll come as a thief unto thee. So here's another thing, and I'm going to get to this in another video in more depth, but I just want to shortly point out here that the book of Revelation is not, it doesn't, they don't happen in order. The seals, the vials, and the trumps are all the same events. Now you almost wanted to shut the video off. Hang in there. I'll get into it in deeper. It's very, very simple and very clear when I do another video on this, but I'm just prepping you here. And I'm going to prove that the seals for sure are not the beginning of the tribulation, and then they increase in intensity. I'm going to prove it before this video is done. This is a very short video. Revelation 6:12, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Oops. When does that happen? Happens after the tribulation, we know this for a fact, and before the day of the Lord. So by the sixth seal, we're already after the tribulation. So your idea that the vials and the bowls, or the trumpets and the vials are more intense further on into the tribulation, you're going to have to rethink your situation because you're dead wrong. Revelation 16:15, behold, I come as a thief, blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Matthew 24:43. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not suffered his house to be broken up. If you don't think you're going to know the day and the hour, then you're deceived. If you think that Jesus is coming before the tribulation, you are deceived. If you think the book of Revelation is written in any kind of succession, you are dead wrong. The trumpets, the bowls, or the vials, and the seals are all the same thing. It's no different than Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They're called the Synoptic Gospels. They are just three different angles of the same events. The seals, the vials, and the trumpets are all the same events from different angles in different detail. So, to sum it up, the tribulation is not the day of the Lord. They are separated by the sun and the moon and the stars event, and those happen already in Revelation 6. Sorry to burst your bubble. Any other questions? Gonna have to wait.